Okay, welcome back. Solo role Mangging. Shadowdark. I'm pretty sure Shadowdark is my most played solo game now, right? It kind of has to be, I think. It seems like probably the most sessions. I mean, Tales of Argos is up there, I think, but especially with this now, this has got to put Shadowdark in a pretty good spot. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it might be my favorite RPG, which is kind of wild. Now, that's my favorite RPG, I guess, to maybe DM and maybe to play solo. I've never gotten to play Shadowdark with a DM, just like I've never gotten to play Tales of Argosa with a DM. Or basically any OSR game, really. Except DCC, sort of, mostly funnels. And we don't really count like Shadow the Demon Lord or something with as OSR. So, but yeah, Shadowdark's pretty good. Especially thanks to all our fun house rules to make it more complicated. That's what I love. I think it's a pretty happy medium, though. I think it's got a lot of simplicity for a lot of mechanics, especially in combat. It's got advantage, disadvantage, attribute checks and shit like that. Spell casting is nice and powerful and plentiful, but then also we get to add a lot of nice extra rules that I don't have to like come up with spontaneous rulings for, especially when it comes to like overland travel and crap like that. All right, so last time we barely made it out of the caves of Kaus, but we did make it out with some treasure. We got some levels. We're patched up. Things are looking good. We've got money. We have 1,065 gold. We're going to be spending that money. I believe, let's see. Look at our inventories here. So ration-wise, we're plumb out. 0 rations. There's also various supplies that I'd like to have, such as bandages. I think everyone should be carrying bandages, and we should have extra to spare. I think healing salves could be really useful for times when we don't have cure light injury or something. We need a grappling hook for sure. We don't have that, which has been annoying. Probably just more rope. You never know when you might need 500 fucking feet of rope. We also need some pack animals or some sort of animal to pull a cart. I think we want a cart, even though we're going to be heading into the forest. So I think we might skip the cart and just go for multiple pack animals. Because we're going to be heading north into the Borderlands here, which is going to be through a lot of forests, and there's not much way around it. So I think we're going to go with just maybe donkeys. Let's just look real quick since we're going to be making this decision here. So we have, draft donkeys for 10 gold each. I mean, why would you not get a bunch of donkeys? Or we could get draft mules. We could also buy horses at this point, which we probably will. Probably buy some step riding horses. But we also want to get some hirelings to watch over all this stuff for us and keep us safe while we're out in the forest from certain random encounters. So we're not going to get horses for all of them, so I think the horses is mostly redundant unless we're planning on separating from the group for some reason and riding. But we probably can just go on foot and just travel in a big group. It does make you more appealing to certain things, I suppose, and makes you more visible, so it's kind of hard to surprise anything else. But safety in numbers it's hard to go wrong. All right, so a mule has a speed of 50 feet in combat. So specifically, that means they can travel 30 miles per day with a normal encumbrance. Yeah, but donkeys, they're a bit slower. They can carry a less 15 stone normal load, but they're efficient grazers, so you don't have to bring food if given access to sufficient pasture. And I figure as long as you're not in a desert or a barrens or something like that, Badlands, they're good. That's why we also want to. That's why we would get steppe horses as well. Yeah. But yeah, donkeys are good. So let's consider how many donkeys we want. They have a travel speed of 24 per day, which is pretty good. It's as fast as a person's ever going to be on foot. So we can actually load them up double. We can load them up to 30, and they'll be traveling at 12 per day, which is what it will be traveling at. Although if we offload a lot of shit onto the donkeys, and we have enough donkeys, we could get our speed up to maybe 18 per day, which would not be bad. We'd have to get down to 4 to 6 open slots. So 4 open slots would get us there. So Scylla would have to dump some stuff, but that's doable. Noring's good. Kurathair's good. Zaffiel would have to dump 2 more slots of stuff, but again, it's just like torches and rope and you're good. So yeah, it's not bad. They don't have much for normal load then. That's 15 stones, 15 slots. So we probably want, I don't know, 3 or 4 donkeys. They're damn cheap. It's 10 gold a donkey. Let's just buy 4 donkeys and call it a day. So we're going to buy 4 donkeys. And we're going to keep track of everything in a notepad. That's how I like to do it. Okay, we can erase all the XP. We're going to subtract 40 gold here. Done. 4 donkeys. Good to go. Now, I don't know if you have to also buy saddlebags, or if it's just assumed that they can hold all this shit. I assume I have to buy saddlebags. I probably have to buy 5 saddlebags per donkey. I've never done that before. It's always just been like, yeah, you buy the animal, it can go. But really, you're just buying an animal. You're not buying... You gotta buy something to put... Unless you're just strapping something big to them. If you're putting all sorts of little incidental shit, it's like backpacks for animals, you know? So yeah, we would need saddlebags. Not cheap. 5 gold for 1, and it holds 3 slots. So that means for each one, that's an extra 25 gold. Damn, that price went up, didn't it? But it's still like the cheapest option you're gonna get unless you want to buy a cart. Cart is a cart. You don't need saddlebags or any sacks or anything. You can just throw shit in the cart. But carts are tricky to move around. Oh, there's also rucksack. Does that have anything of value to us? Can we strap that or something? It's a small backpack. No, I think the saddlebag is a very specific thing. Hold on, let me just check the Discord. Because I don't want to spend all this money if this is just a bunch of balooey. But I don't think it's in the game if it's a bunch of balooey. So, you know... Is the intent here, you can't just hook up a large sack to a saddle, otherwise why ever buy saddlebags? I would rule that you can hook up large sacks to a draft animal, but not to a riding animal without penalty, and probably double the encumbrance or something from the lack of balance. To me, it's a similar question to like whether you could just tie sacks to your back instead of carrying them, and isn't that better than a backpack? The rules don't necessarily cover every weird thing a person might want to do. My character's trained to carry all his gear on top of his head. Okay. So for draft animals, you can just tie up large sacks, according to the author of the fucking game. but not riding animals. So if you want to attach anything other than yourself to a riding animal, you have to get saddle and saddle bags. Okay, I think this is fair. So we could just buy large sacks. They're a lot cheaper. But again, yeah, we don't have to worry as much about balance for a draft animal. So those hold 6 slots each for 8 silver. So we could buy 2 large sacks, 3 small sacks, and that's good enough. Because I don't think we're ever planning on over-encumbering them. We're trying to get to 18 miles per day, but it would be ideal. So total then for each donkey is 16 plus 9 is 25 silver. Perfect. So that's 100 silver, which is 10 gold. That's a more reasonable price. Excellent. Okay. So each one can hold 26 slots. Well, no, we're not going over. So no, it's 15. Why did I buy so much? No, I did buy. I bought 16. Yes, okay, yeah. right. Okay. So yes, we can hold 15 without getting encumbered. Okay. That's fine. So we're going to have the donkeys hold all our rations. We have to have enough rations for our 4 plus as many hirelings as we're going to get. Which raises the question, how many hirelings are we going to get? Well, we probably could each get 1, I imagine. Because you can have 4 modified by your charisma. So Norin can do 3, whereas Kurathair can actually do 6. But I think we can each get 1 and try and make it happen. But it's a lot easier for Kurathair just to have all 4. So Kurathair's probably going to have all 4. Because he has the best chance of actually hiring these people. Alright. So we're going to go for first levels. We're in a class 3 settlement. So that's 1d4 per month at first level. But that's what we want. And we have to spend 1d8 plus 5 gold per week while hiring this. And we're almost certainly going to have to go for the whole month, at least. It's d4. I mean, we could get 1 for the whole month, which would suck. But we do want specifically hirelings. Now, this is the only part where I kind of break away from Axe. In that, although it says they gain experience when they participate in an adventure. Yes. So I suppose that's true then. So I don't actually disagree then. They get a half share of treasure and they gain XP if they're on an adventure. But no. I suppose, yeah. Because I usually have it where it's a monthly wage, but you only have to give them a half share of treasure if they go into the dungeon with you. But there are adventure locations that are not dungeons that I think would qualify as like a dangerous locale. So I think it's kind of murky. And I guess, yeah, Axe probably just hand waves all that to say you're on an adventure, they get a half share of XP. Yeah, they get a half share of any treasure discovered on an adventure. So there's not really anything in Acts that's just like, I want you to guard. Like, that's what I'm confused on. It's like, surely caravan guards exist, right? And there's no treasure when they're transporting goods from one to the other. They're just getting paid a wage. That's not a mercenary, because that's not like a military campaign. So that would have to be like a henchman, right? I don't know what else it would be. So there must be someone out there that's doing jobs just for regular payment and not for a half share of treasure. Yeah, henchmen are the only sort of hireling that will generally accompany an adventurer into a dungeon, lair, or ruin. Mercenaries are hired soldiers and will guard, patrol, and otherwise serve in wilderness settings, but only as part of a larger force, not an adventuring party. And then there's specialists, hired individuals who have a particular trade or have special knowledge. Those are the three types, pretty much. So that's why I make the distinction. It sort of depends on, I think there are dangerous locations in general, like random encounters and all that can happen in the wilderness and stuff. But I think that's a lot different than actually going down into a dark, dank dungeon with traps and monsters around each corner and stuff. So, right. I'm gonna flip back the image, but I actually want to make another search in the Discord here. Here's someone asking, if the party's engaging in a mercantile venture where they just want to hire caravan guards to protect it, they would be mercenaries and not henchmen. Is that correct? And they said correct. So you actually would hire mercenaries. So a mercenary doesn't always have to be a military campaign, but that's the one thing very specific about mercenaries is they don't go into dungeons. So yes, I suppose that would be correct. It says they will accompany adventurers on wilderness expeditions or sea journeys in settled territory and or along established trade routes to pass through unsettled territory. They will not assist in searching unsettled territory around the trade route for monster lairs unless personally led, however. They will be personally led. They will accompany adventurers on wilderness or sea journeys in unsettled territory, found a campaign toward a known military or mercantile objective likely to yield substantial benefit for the mercenaries. They will not assist in searching unless personally led. Basically, it's just you have to personally lead them, but that's fine. They will not accompany adventurers on dungeon delves, even if personally led. However, they will participate in sieges and assaults on dungeons present in sufficient numbers to entirely blockade the dungeon or personally led. Okay, well then, good. We'll just use the mercenary rules. That's fine. So we were given a bunch of types of mercenaries that we can recruit. We're given their wages per month, modified by their sort of, what do they call in this game? They don't call it anything. You're just assumed to be human unless you pick a demi-human class. Is that it? Well, whatever. Ancestry. Fine. Mercenaries on campaign must be provided with supplies and will expect a share of military plunder in addition to wages. Yeah, I think we can ignore that. So we're specifically just hiring essentially caravan guards. I do think, it's borderline, right? because that's usually for like along an established route or something. This is in unsettled territory next to a dungeon, and they're going to be left alone without the adventurers involved. So I do think it's pretty questionable, but you can always rule that as there'll be like loyalty checks or something if something does happen, which is probably what you should do anyways. But it just doesn't feel right to give them a half share of treasure for doing probably nothing, to be honest. Like, most of the time they will do absolutely nothing. But basically, yeah, any encounter while we're in unsettled territory, if there's any combat whatsoever, even if we just demolish it, there's going to be a loyalty roll. Okay, so then how many do we want to hire? We can hire a lot, but we have to feed all these people. So let's say heavy infantry. That makes the most sense. We'll do humans, because that's fine. They have no morale penalty or anything like that, so that's good. And they have banded plate. So heavy infantry, 12 per month. Honestly, we could hire quite a few. Food's not that expensive. Like, let's say we hire 8 heavy infantry. We have to pay them up front, of course. So it's 8 times 12. 96 right now just to hire all these. Well, that's assuming that we can. I don't know if there's a limit to mercenaries. I mean, there's a lot of mercenaries. I mean, there's 3d8 heavy infantry mercenaries available. No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they follow the same rules as how many, to limit how many you can have. Yeah, so I think we're fine with that. I also don't know if we have to hire each one individually, which I don't think that's how it works. I mean, that seems kind of crazy, because it's like, what if I'm trying to hire like 100 mercenaries, which is not unreasonable, right? Like, I'm in a class 1 marketplace, I want to hire 200 light infantry or something, or more. I have to roll that individually for each one. He's like, yes, I will join you. No, I will not join you. Yes, I'll join you. No, I'm not going to join you. It's like a big line. Yeah, I'm just not sure the specific rules there. Yeah, seeking out adventuring companies, mercenary brotherhoods, or professional guilds is one of the things you can do. So that's how I always imagine. It's like a mercenary guild or something, like a company or something you're going to try to hire their men. So I would really just make it do like one roll based on your like interview with the mercenary company or whatever, you know, to convince them that this isn't gonna fuck them over completely, you know, and they're gonna lose all the men they're lending out. That's how I imagine it. So, right. So let's say 8 heavy infantry is the number we're looking for. Let's say then we want to buy enough food for everyone for 2 weeks. I don't think we need that much, but hey, we may as well. So 2 weeks times 8. No, times 12, because there's 4 of us. So that's 24 weeks of food that we need. So that's 24. We want to buy iron rations, of course, to save space. So that's 24 times 3, which is 72 gold I have to spend on food for that pack. Let me just... minus 72 gold. For food. Okay. And then we have to pay... what did I say? 96? Yeah, 96 gold for hiring them. Assuming that we get a good result on our hiring roll. And then I don't think we really need much else. This isn't a long military campaign or anything, so I don't have to supply them. I don't have to hire an armorer or anything like that, so we should be okay. And they're gonna come with decent gear, so I'm not gonna sweat it. Alright, so let's just try that. So let's see. It's 3d8, because we're in a class 3 market. So let's see how many we get total. 12. That's not great. That means we'll be here a while. I mean, that's not really that big of a deal. Although I haven't been deducting money for our, like, in-rooms and our rooms and our meals and stuff. I probably should deduct a lump sum for all that shit. Alright, let's just deduct, like, 40 gold total. I feel like we've spent a good amount of time here. Yeah. Okay. Let's do our hiring roll. So there's this Kurith there that's going to the mercenary company, explaining the situation and all that, and trying to smooth things over. So it's 2d6 plus 2. Excellent. Okay. They are more than happy. The jobs are dry right now, so they're more than happy. It sounds like an easy enough gig. They don't have to go in any dangerous dungeons or anything, so sure. So they accept with Elan. So they get +1 bonus to their high loyalty score. The men are eager to get out there and sick of sitting in the barracks here or whatever. Alright, so let's write that down. We have 8 heavy infantry mercenaries, +1 loyalty. Awesome. Yeah. So the hireling obedience table. Okay. Okay, so the loyalty, yeah, 2d6. Which I think is just at +1 right now. And I think they have just 0 morale. Which is fine. It's all fine. Alright, I need to get those stats for this heavy infantry and what he's using. Almost there, almost there, almost there. There it is. So heavy infantry, we'll just go with this one. So they have 16 AC. They have 4 hit points. So I think they're level 0 fighters. Yeah. So they attack with +0, and they're using spears or swords, so 1d6. But they're there just for the presence of mercenaries wearing banded plate and stuff, you know? Okay. I think that's good. So donkeys, right. 24 weeks of food. That takes up 24 slots. So this first donkey is just going to carry food. Second donkey is going to carry mostly food. Okay. Beyond that, let's lighten our load. Although I don't know if heavy infantry can actually move at 18 miles per day. They have a move of 60. Which I think is their running speed. No, so they're moving at 12 anyways, so we could overload the donkeys, but I'd have to buy more bags. That's fine. Okay, so we're gonna be at 12 per day anyways, because I went with heavy infantry. So I don't really have to lighten anybody's load, unless we want to lighten the load. Oh yeah, the Great Shield is no longer going to be a +1. Okay. Let's buy, Right, bandages. We want bandages for everybody. Let me go back to my notes, because I added that. Bandages are 6 silver each and take up a half slot. So we want to buy, let's say, 8 bandages total. Which is 48 silver. We'll just spend 5 gold because I'm not too picky. Okay, and then we can get bandages for everybody, which I have added. Good. Bandage, except you put it at do. Bandages. Okay. And then the healing salve. This is also going to be 0.5. This is spend 1 spend action and 1 turn. Roll int. DC 12 int. After 1 hour, heal target for 1d6 or 2d6 if int check 18 plus. 18 plus, baby. Alright, and we're going to load up Noring with 2 of those and more on the thing. And we're pricing those at 3 gold each. So we're going to buy, let's say 4 of those. No, 5 of those. So it's 15 gold total. Okay. That'd be 3. Okay. We can buy another rope. Let's buy a lot of rope. Let's buy 400 feet of rope. We can always dump it if we don't need it, but that's 8 slots. Okay. And that'll cost 8 gold. Okay. We could buy a masterwork thing then. Well, no, maybe not. That would be 947 minus 72 minus 96. No, yes, we can. 779. Okay. Because then we could buy Noring, like masterwork plate mail or something, which would bump his AC up to astronomical territory. I think he'd have 20 AC. Yes, I also want to buy Kurith there, like a sling. But mostly, let's get this masterwork plate armor. Which is, can we purchase such a thing here? Automatically? It would be 710 gold. Yes, we can. Awesome. I mean, technically, yes, you have to have a Grand Master make it, but I'm not that anal about Masterworks. Like, mostly I follow this chart. As long as you're in a class 3 or bigger, you can just buy one of that type. Yeah, I'm not that anal about it. I mean, you could say, like, oh, you really have to seek out a Grand Master and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay, or I could just go into a dungeon and, like, stumble across a +1 piece of equipment. Granted, we have not found anything like that, but theoretically. But I think that's more true if you want to, like, equip an army or something like that. Like, you'd have to, like, round up a bunch of Grand Masters to really crank this out. But even then, it's like, say you're in the capital of the world, you can only buy 7 Masterwork chainmails per month. By just following this. So I don't know. Anyways, yes, so we're gonna go with plate mail. Chainmail, I think we're probably just gonna toss. Don't really need it. I guess I could sell it. It's worth 20 gold. So 799. 799 minus 710. Yeah, that was easy math. Okay, 89. It's +7 to AC, but takes up 6 damn slots. But is that right? Dex is 1. That's 11. This is 7. That would be 18. And then the Great Shield should be 2. Wait a minute. How is that only 19 AC? Oh, it doesn't count Dex. Yeah, I don't think Axe ever doesn't count Dex. Unless I'm wildly off. Oh, scarce armor, which is plate armor. Generally available at only 1/2 the usual volume noted in equipment availability. So it'd actually only be a 50% chance here we could buy it. Okay, we're good. Okay, but that's, yeah, I never, I mean, I probably noticed that at some point. I didn't think about it. Okay. So no, I don't believe that you ever ignore Dex. Yeah, so we're good. That was the problem. He's got 20. All right. Good. 20 AC is good. We're gonna buy now a sling for Kurathair because he can use clubs, daggers, darts. Oh, not sling, darts. Yeah, just so he has some option. Darts are pretty darn cheap and easy to carry. 5 of them for like probably 0.25 slots, I'd say. So we'll buy him 25 darts. No, we'll buy him 20 darts. 8 gold in 1 slot. Okay, that leaves us with 81 gold total. I apparently wrote 7 here, so we'll say 88 gold. Yeah, okay. Darts, we gotta add as a weapon. Base weapon, there isn't one. Shadowdark doesn't have it. It's ranged. Range is near, sort of. No ammo. Technically it is ammo. It's probably not going to work that easily. One-handed damage for a dart, I think, is 1d4. Yep. Slots per item? No. 5. Yeah, max per slot is 5. I have... Okay, technically I have 20. Sure. Oh. Well, no, this is the default one, yes. So this is 5, max per slot 5. That should be all correct. Yes, perfect. Alright, there you go. Darts. Oh my god, that's right. He has a -2 dex. But it's a thrown weapon, so he should be able to, I mean, it's basically like a dagger. I suppose that's true, right? I mean, what really is the difference here between this and a dagger? Well, probably the range is different. Nope. Yes. Darts can be thrown farther. They can be thrown up to 75 feet compared to 45. They're also a lot cheaper. You get 5 for 2 gold instead of 1 for 3 gold. So yes. But I need I guess I could put base weapon of dagger. That didn't really... The daggers are listed as what? Melee, with range near. Oh, okay. So, let's just make that change. So just set it to melee. Technically, we can't use it in melee, but it's a thrown weapon, so it should use strength. And there's no other way to indicate that other than doing it that way. Yeah. Except that still didn't do it. Must be something damn special. It must be, oh, this specific weapon property. Oh, that'll do it. Okay. That would make the most sense. Still didn't do it, no. Oh, it did do it, +1. Okay. Yeah, it just didn't reduce it by 1 because I don't think there's a way for us to... Yeah, I don't think there's a way to do that. Oh, well, we'll have to reduce it manually, but that's fine. Okay. That took too long. Eventually, we'll get to playing again. Okay. We're good to go, unless I want to buy a level 2 spellworm, but I can't afford it. So no, we're good. We got everything we can want or need. Probably. Is there anything? Oh, the grappling hook. Yes, grappling hook. That's 25 gold. So that brings us down to 56 gold. And we'll get a grappling hook. Good. Excellent. Anything else? Now would be the time. Speak now, forever hold your peace. We could go... We're still pretty good on torches. We have the illumination spell. We could buy a whetstone. Sure, I'm going to buy a whetstone for Noreen. So this is, if he takes a rest, 24-hour rest, and he has full health, he can sharpen a bladed weapon to give it +1 damage for the next day. It's 1 gold, 1 full slot, just to balance things out a bit. There must be a way, like if I take Foundry on a different computer, none of this shit is there. So there must be a way to export this. I wish it had some sort of cloud thing, but it doesn't. Okay. He's gonna dump off. Probably gonna dump off torches here. I think the only one that really needs to carry torches is Kurathair. So we're gonna move the torches over there. I don't imagine we'd ever be in a dungeon for longer than 6 hours. So I think we can move the 18 other torches over to Donkey 4. Which would be 3 slots. Okay. Well, I guess I could just stash it. I mean, that is pretty handy. I always delete it, but yeah, you could just stash it. But now I'm gonna get confused, so we'll just dump it there. It's fine. Yeah, there might be some other stuff that's not on this list, but's in the personal... the player's companion for Shadowdark. Oh, we don't have a crowbar. We definitely want that. Okay. Buy a crowbar. And I think that's 1/6, so that'll be a half. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. And a crowbar... Well, that's 31 plus... No. 3 gold plus 4 gold, so 52 gold. Okay, so let me just check real quick here. The player's companion does have a lot of more adventuring gear. Yeah, we could buy poisons or something, but I don't think we can really afford anything good. Caltrops, I mean, yeah, if you're being chased, caltrops are a pretty nice thing to drop behind you. That can that could save your life, you know? Okay. I like that. I don't think they're in here. Oh, they are in here. Oh my goodness. We will buy caltrops. Those, I don't imagine, take up a full slot. I also don't imagine they're in Axe at all. Oh, they are under siege engines. A 20-ounce bag, 1/6 of a stone for 10 gold. Okay. Fuck it, I'll pay it. It's not gonna be... It'll be half a slot. Cool. That helps. We like that. I don't know why exactly it's under siege engines, but... Typical caltrop has 4 sharp spikes, blah, blah, blah. They're used to impede movement through areas, particularly by cavalry. 1 bag of caltrops can be scattered across a 5-foot by 5-foot area as an action in lieu of attacking. Can also be picked up as a full round action. That's pretty quick, man. Easy to spot unless shielded by terrain such as tall grass. Creatures moving at half combat speed or less can move through caltrops safely. Creatures moving at combat speed must succeed on proficiency throw of 7+ per 5 feet of movement through caltrops. Mounts must throw twice per 5 feet. Yeah, so I think we can say they're probably a lot more effective in the wilderness, like outdoors, in the forests and stuff like that. But then I think there's a lot less guarantee they'd even step on them, unless they're like right on your ass. In which case, they probably see you dropping them. But you never know; they might come in handy. So I'm gonna hold on to them. Anything else? Anything else? Oh, arrows. Are we stocked up on arrows? No, we're not. I'm gonna go back up to 20 here. I think you're the only one that uses them. And we're gonna stock extra arrows on Donkey 2. Now, arrows shouldn't take up a whole slot, actually. They should take up a half. So I'm pretty sure they are 1/6. Yeah, they're 1/6. So let's modify that. Okay. And we will spend 2 gold for that. We want to be really prepared now. We've gone into too much bullshit to not be prepared. There's acid we could buy to burn through metal. Block and tackle to lift a heavy object for us. You know, it's like why would you not? You might need it. You might need it. And we also probably got to buy bedrolls for all these fucks. They can all carry their own damn bedrolls, but I'll buy them the bedrolls. So that's 8 times 3, 24 silver. I'll just spend 3 gold. I like to tip a lot, you know. Yeah, block and tackle, 12 gold. 25. Block and tackle, 1 slot. Okay, so that's done. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's just all sorts of stuff. You never know. You never know when you might need something. Oh, military oil. That's true. We definitely want military oil. Plenty of it. Let's buy 5 pints of military oil for 10 gold. Don't worry, we're gonna be doing something soon. Alright, we're just gonna hold. Yeah, we'll hold 2 on Scylla. And then the other 3 can go on this donkey. Which is 0.75 slots. Excellent. Let us go then. Let us commence. Where are we going? What are we doing? Well, I looked at a few things and I decided that we're just gonna go with we're going to go with the Sunless Fane because it's written for Shadowdark. It's chubby funster. I'd like to check it out. But what we want to do when we're running through this is see what it's going to be involved, what would be involved, or make an attempt at modifying the treasure to make it more in line with what I'd expect to find in a BX module. Or, you know, something written for like OSE or something like that. And I think it's a good one because it's a decent-sized dungeon here. It's something that's just an ancient temple that has been recently discovered by a hobgoblin war band. And so what I want to do then is that we have to go now and take back our keep. We're going to pretend that some hobgoblin... We're going to pretend... The whole game is pretending, actually. None of this is real. But we're going to say that a group of hobgoblins saw this keep completely abandoned, and they decided to take it over for themselves. So we have to take the keep again. And that's going to link us in some way to this sunless fane that they have excavated and established as a base of operations to raid nearby human settlements. So it's a good connection. This is what we're going to do. So we're going to be working a lot with hobgoblins now. So this is a gang of hobgoblins. Maybe 2 gangs. Because a gang is 1d6. A war band, if we wanted to do that and make this more realistic, it would be 1d8 gangs. So, like, I don't know. There would be like 15 of them or so on average. That would probably be more realistic. So I guess we could do it that way. They took yeah, we'll say a war band took over this. I can roll, but I'm imagining around 15 or so hobgoblins. Okay, so 6 gangs, so that's 6d6. 22. Well, it's a little higher than I expected. But sure, we'll say 22. 22 hobgoblins. Alright, so we're going to make it back here. Well, we're going to make it back to the keep. We'll just skip to that part. Again, I wouldn't really do that normally, but this is all just kind of a experimental hacking process of Shadowdark where we're just trying to test various things. So we'll skip over the stuff we're already familiar with. Okay, so we make it back to the keep. And I imagine that they might make better use of the courtyard than the bugbears did. Because the bugbears are very stealthy and they were under fear of the manticore and stuff. So these are just hobgoblins that think they found this awesome keep. They've probably been living here for like a couple weeks or something. So I'm going to do an oracle of, are there any hobgoblins outside of the keep? As in the courtyard or something like that, or maybe on the ramparts. Yes, very much so. Okay. Let's roll a d6 for how many hobgoblins are outside of the keep. No, that's not a good number. Still not a good number. Okay, well, I got what I wanted. Okay, so 6 hobgoblins outside the keep. Alright, are there any on top of the ramparts? Yes. Is there more than one atop the rampart? No. Okay, so they have one on the rampart that's the bitch of the group that has to keep watch while they have kind of more fun in the courtyard or something like that. So there's one on the ramparts, kind of patrolling around, looking out, seeing if he sees any movement. And then there's 5 more in the courtyard. Maybe a couple of them are dueling, because that's what they do. A couple of them maybe lounging or something. This is a good gig they've gotten here, apparently. They've been praised, perhaps, by the hobgoblin war leader for taking this place without a sweat. But all right. So as we head towards the keep, just to check in on it, our home apparently, we have to determine on whether or not we see the one on the ramparts or not. Of basically, is he looking in our direction at the moment, or is he just, because there's only one, so he's got a lot of directions to patrol around the keep. So I think odds are we see him before he sees us. We see him up on the ramparts from a distance before he sees us. So I'm going to roll with disadvantage on the oracle here. Okay. So yes, we see a hobgoblin up on the ramparts, and he's looking off to like the west or something. So we're going to duck behind cover, because obviously there's a foreign presence within our keep. And this is now going to be a job for Scylla to kind of sneak ahead, scout out exactly what the enemy is, how many there are, and maybe try and pick off the guy on the rampart first. So that the rest of us can move up and rush the courtyard or something like that. But yeah, she's going to be sent ahead for recon. I think it's pretty unlikely this guy spots her, so I'm just going to set it as a flat DC of 9. Like, she'd have to really fuck up here. I probably shouldn't even have her roll, to be honest. It's just like, yeah, she's sneaky. There's one guy on watch. It's kind of a big area. Yeah, we're not even going to roll. She sneaks up. So she's going to... We can change the scene, I suppose. She's going to try to sneak up over here and look into the courtyard around the corner. That's where it could be a little bit trickier, where she might get spotted, because there is like a little embankment here. So this is a little trickier. I'm going to set the DC for 12 on this one, but she has advantage. Okay, she just barely makes it. So she looks in, she sees 5 hobgoblins, 2 of them kind of sparring, a couple others drinking one another, just, I don't know, jerking off or whatever hobgoblins do. And she can see some torches in the windows way up there, so it's suspected that there's more hobgoblins here. All right, so now she's going to try to pick off this other hobgoblin. So she's going to sneak around the wall this way and get to like here, and then she's going to wait for him to come by and then jump him. So this is going to be 2 rolls. This is going to be a stealth versus his wisdom, his listening check. And then if she passes that, then it's going to be a surprise check of her like clambering up and stabbing him in the neck without him realizing. Okay, so the first one is her stealth. Okay, and now this is going to be his wisdom, of which is probably 0 or 1. We can check Shadowdark as always for this sort of stuff. Hobgoblins have +1. Okay, he crit. That's pretty bad. We're going to spend a luck token to make him re-roll that. He crit fumbled. Okay, well that's good. Now, if I didn't do anything special because he crit, I shouldn't do anything special because he crit fumbled, you know? And I don't know if I would do anything because he crit, because we really try to avoid that sort of thing, even though I think the book says crits are like, you succeed to the maximum effect or something like that. I thought it said that somewhere. This book is sort of all over the place. What you're doing succeeds to your maximum capacity. And a 1, what you're doing fails to your maximum capacity. So, yeah, it doesn't break anything. It's just like, yeah, he fails his listening check to the maximum capacity. So he's completely oblivious to her, which I think would be a nice +1 on the surprise. Or a -1 for him on the surprise. So that means when this ambush occurs, I have foreknowledge and line of sight. He has neither foreknowledge nor line of sight, which means, ergo, he already gets -1. Yeah, foreknowledge, line of sight, none. He rolls with -1. So he's going to roll disadvantage -2, which means he needs to roll a 5 or a 6 twice. He did not. So he is very surprised, and we're going to stab this dagger into his neck with advantage. That is a hit, and that is a kill. So we slash his throat and lower the body down onto the rampart. Excellent. And that's why thieves are good. Well, it's another reason why thieves are good. I have made another change. Well, one thing I did was actually put in the custom column here for Rebuke Undead. which took longer than I'd like to admit. I'm sure there was a way I could have had AI do it faster, but I tried and it wasn't compact enough. This is how compact I wanted it. And you could say, well, why didn't I just paste in the thing from the PDF? I don't know, mostly because I want to print this probably at some point, and I just didn't want to. I don't know, I could have. I guess I could have. I don't know why. But the other thing I added Shadowy Senses to Thieves. So now they do have that. I'm breaking Shadowdark's no dark vision of any kind rule. Because Shadowy Senses isn't really dark vision. It's just a representation of their expertise at operating within the dark, which they should have. I know Shadowdark is so focused on like the darkness being a threat, an ever-present threat, an enemy of the players at all times, and the DM is supposed to attack their light and try and throw them into darkness as much as possible because it's omnipresent and dangerous. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do think it's an important aspect, but I don't think it's that critical compared to how many other things are also very dangerous. All right, but this was the bigger one. A thief may add their backstab damage anytime they make an attack with advantage. So that means that if the enemy is held or they're prone or, you know, any one of the other things that could provide an attack, they're blinded, a thief can do a backstab. However, if you're attacking during a combat, you only get half your bonus damage dice. So right now, she gets... How much damage? What did I roll? 5d4. Yeah, so we get 4 extra bonus damage dice. If we're attacking now a prone target in the middle of combat, we would add 2 bonus dice. So it's still a pretty big bonus. It would jump to 3d4 over 1d4. But yeah, this makes thieves now a lot more viable. Prone is still not the end all be all, especially if you're a ranged thief, because shooting a prone target with a ranged weapon actually gives you disadvantage. Which means if you're under fire, you should probably drop to the ground and go prone. So you actually would not be able to backstab with a ranged weapon on a prone target, which I think is relatively sensible. But if someone like grapples them and holds them in place, yeah, you should be able to get advantage on the attack, and a thief should be able to make like basically a called shot, like shoot him in the fucking head for extra damage. So yeah, this makes thieves a lot more viable. Is it overpowered? I don't know. I just think it's a better system than a thief like having to scramble around a battlefield and like jumping behind a barrel and like, yes, I'm hidden now. And then I run out and, oh, I stab you in the back. And it's just like, no. And I think this encourages team play a lot more, especially with the mighty deeds and stuff. Or just in general. Like, yeah, that you have a character that just tries to cast crowd control spells to try to hold targets. Like web becomes a lot more useful with a thief involved. Or you have a fighter that maybe like I think that actually makes like a grapple fighter a lot more viable as an option in a party, which I know is getting into kind of like more modernish D&D or Pathfinder or something where you actually have a grapple fighter. But I, as someone that has played like a wrestling D&D character, I played a character named Mike Hagar after the Final Fight character, and all I did was grapple and grab and wrestle and stuff, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. It's just fun. And so now it's just a great duo alongside a thief. Does it make a thief with high strength a better option than a fighter, considering that you could then backstab with a longsword or something like that? I don't think so. Fighters still have a lot of good things on their own. You know, they can cleave more often. They get way more attack bonuses and general damage bonuses. And they get a lot more health. And they can use any armor. But I think, what I'm trying to do is make every class of the core 4 just really viable. Because I know I've heard a lot of complaints about the Thief in Shadowdark as it is just not being that great of a class outside of, like, the specific thiefy things that they do of climbing and picking locks and stealth. So I'm trying to just make them a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, I don't have that much skin in the game because I don't normally play thieves. That's not something I would ever really pick to play as a class. I'm always the wizard guy. But I don't know. I'm developing a soft spot for thieves. And especially in this style of game, a good thief is like almost as indispensable now as a good cleric. Maybe even more so, really, if they know what they're doing. All right, anyways, but yes, so there you go. We just picked off this hobgoblin. Assassination, hitman shit. Excellent. So now she's going to climb back down and go tell the others the situation. There's 5 hobgoblins in the courtyard, and she picked off the one on the ramparts. There's probably more hobgoblins inside. Some sort of hobgoblin war band took over the keep. So I think we're probably going to go for just shock and awe, I suppose. I don't think stealth is going to be too viable with this size of group. We do have the donkeys and the mercenaries with us. We're telling them to just stay quite a ways back. We'll take care of this. You know, this isn't your thing. They could technically assist because this is kind of a military objective. I don't think they would go. They wouldn't go inside the keep, but they probably would assist with this courtyard battle if I really wanted. But I'm not going to do it. Yeah. So I think we're just going to kind of walk down the path towards the keep here, and then once we get pretty close, we're just going to start running and charging in. I don't think stealth is much of an option, except for Scylla. I think Scylla's going to break away and go and climb up here and wait for the conflict to start, and then she'll pop up and shoot her bow. Backstab, baby. All right. That's what we're going to do. Would they hear us coming? I think it's fairly likely. I'm going to give them a wisdom check with advantage against a DC of 12. Like, I know they're somewhat distracted, but there's a group of us and we're not especially stealthy. He's wearing plate armor and stuff. So, yeah, okay. So they hear us coming. So that means as soon as we show up, they have foreknowledge because they heard us coming, and we have line of sight. So that means nothing. Yeah, no side is surprised, no evasion, blah blah blah. Yeah, we just do the combat. So our dex then, I think it probably wouldn't count Scylla as part of our group, unfortunately. So that would be just 0, and they have, I think, 1. Yeah. A lot of flipping. I wish I had, like, AR glasses or something I could just, like, pin things to my view. You know, that's the future. Like, I could just pin this hobgoblin stat block to the corner of my eyeball. They have +0 as well. So our initiative is 2. Theirs is 1. Awesome. So we got the slight jump on them. Kurathair is probably going to open. I mean, how can I not? How can I not open with this? This is a rare opportunity where we get to do an outdoor battle. Yeah, he's gonna open with Sunflare. And it's 20 feet in diameter. I feel like that's gonna hit all 5. Yeah, they're pretty fucked. They have to roll a Dex saving throw. Otherwise, they take 3d6 damage, and they have to have a +0, and they have to get 19 or 20. One of them succeeded. He still might be cooked, though. It's 3d6 damage, or half for that one guy. And going off of this, the hobgoblins have 5 hit points. They're fucked. Okay. So the 4 of them got just roasted completely. Just... And the mercenaries in the distance just see this massive pillar of fire and light come down from the heavens. And they hear this just explosion. This is not subtle. We have alerted the entire keep. Like 100%. There's nothing subtle about this spell. But it obliterated 4 of them immediately. The last one was right on the edge of it, I guess. He dodged out of it. He got singed really bad, but he's still standing. Scylla's going to then pop up and just shoot him with surprise with a backstab. There you go. Holy shit. Now, technically, that would count perhaps as combat, but she was not... She was hidden. So she's not... That was technically an ambush for her. You know, probably if I was going to publish this stuff, that would require a better wording or clarification or something, but yeah, that was her kind of hidden ambush attack. Okay, well that was easy. And that was an easy 1545. Well, technically we assassinated that one guy, so it's 6 total. So that would be 90 XP. Okay, there's 22. We just killed 6 total, so they're down to 16 hobgoblins. All right, so now we either go inside. I think they might send someone to investigate what the hell that was. Because there was just, they probably just heard a big fucking explosion outside. Like, real close. So they might rally and get ready for the keep to be stormed or something, but I think they're going to send somebody out to investigate. The D4 of hobgoblins. Okay, 2. So they, like, the 2 closest, they were maybe in here, like, what the fuck was that? So we're going to rush to the sides of the doorway here. As soon as Kurathair just drops this bombshell, this atom bomb, tac nuke. We're going to rush to the side, assuming someone's going to come out soon enough. Scylla's going to stay on the ramparts, hidden. They're going to come out. Do they rush out or do they stay in the doorway? Do they rush out? No. Okay, so they're just going to open the door because, like, it was a scary sound. And so they open the door cautiously. They see just burning, smoldering corpses on the ground. And they probably communicate in Hobgoblin to each other. I think Norin's just going to jump out and slash and try to kill both of them. So this is a surprise check. He has foreknowledge. They don't. So they get a -1. And I think that's kind of it. So if they roll a 4, 5, or 6, they're not surprised. Okay. So they're like they're very wary based on what they see. They're like backed up a little bit. They got their weapons, hands on their weapons. So as soon as he popped out, it's like, oh shit. But he doesn't get the jump on him. So now we go to initiative. Again, 0 for our side. 1. Reroll our side. 1. 3. Okay, so they were ready for him, and they immediately try to just stab him quickly. Yeah, technically, I think they have a +2 to their roll. And I think Shadowdark gives them a +3 to their roll, even though they're level 2. So it gives them 13 strength. Whereas Tales of Argosa... No, they do have 2 hit dice. Except they don't have 2 hit dice here. They have 1+1. Okay, we'll give them +2. It's fine. Alright, so +2 against Noreen. They also have +1 damage bonus. First one, miss. Second one, miss. Spears deflected off of his great shield or his plate armor or something. And now he's going to go to work. Good work. No, Noreen, you missed. Yeah, they have 13 AC. Scylla is going to climb down and, scamper over now. Kurathair will, he'll throw out a slicing blow. Nope, he failed because he sucks. And then Zaphiel will join next to Noreen and just swing his mace. Also a miss. Okay, new initiative, our side. They will go again. They now see that there's like 3 of us at least. They probably see Scylla as well, so 4 of us. They also just witnessed us drop a tac nuke on their buddies. I could justify a morale check here, but I think more importantly, other hobgoblins are on the way now. So I think they're going to be disciplined enough to hold the line while others make it to reinforce. So there's going to be 1d6 more in the next round. But they're going to try to stab Noreen again. They both miss. Noreen's going to try to stab them. Miss. Mace. Miss. Scylla is going to shoot a bow at one. Miss. And Kurathair will just throw a dart. Also a miss. Misses all around. Okay. 1d6. 5 more hobgoblins rush in from both sides, ready for war. So now there's 7 in this room. Our initiative is... Oh my god, our initiative. Okay, they go first. This is going to get complicated. They can operate in pretty tight fighting conditions, fighting close at hand. There's 7 of them. So we'll have 4 on Noreen, 3 on Zaphiel, and they're kind of surrounding him here in this doorway. So 4 on Noreen. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 crit. So he gets to roll 2d6 plus 1. 6 damage on Noreen. Alright, and then 3 on Zaphiel. 1, 2, 3. All of them missed. One of them fumbled. Crit! Excellent. I will take that luck token. Alright, so he bludgeons one in the head for making such a foolish maneuver. Excellent. They're down to 6. Kurathair, you're up. Fan of Flames. Awesome. That's a good roll, too. Because they have to make a dex throw, all 6 of them. The fact that you can just pick your targets here is just so good, man. So good. Okay, 6 of them. They have to roll 60-20, no bonuses. And they need a 17 or higher. All of them failed. All of them take D8. Done. They're all roasted. This is why wizards are good to have around, eventually. Okay, so we just dropped 7 more hobgoblins. They're down to 9 total. While we catch our breath, Zaphiel's going to try to heal Noreen. Excellent. Brings it back up to 6 at least. I probably won't push it. But, yeah, after he casts that, we will have the other 9 hobgoblins come bursting through the doors. throwing us back into combat. Even though they're standing, like, there's just a bunch of charred corpses here. There's charred corpses behind us. Like, goddamn, Kurith there. But, so we do it. We roll a 2, they roll a 6. This is where it gets really dicey for those two. I don't know if we can fit all 9, but one of them's going to be the champion. So he has an extra damage bonus. So he'll be on Norin, he'll be the first die I roll. Let's just stick with 7 again. So 2 of the regulars are just going to try to... They're going to try to poke, but it's not going to count for anything. So that's 4 on Norin. With +2. Okay. None of them hit. 3 then on Zaphiel with +2. All of them missed as well. Excellent. Tanking, baby. Okay, because if one of them rolled... Actually, like, the 20 I rolled... He probably should have knocked him down. Or done something, blinded him or something. I really have to remember. Yeah, I mean, I know crits technically already do... like, an effect of double your damage dice. Throwing on a Mighty Deed as just a free bonus might be a little bit much. Because we should probably adhere to that +5 over the AC. So some monsters just can never do Mighty Deeds against certain ones of us. Yeah, like someone you'd have to have like a +5 to your attack roll at least to do something on Norin. Which I think is fair. He's kind of an immovable wall at this point. Okay, so it's our turn. Kurith is gonna fan of flames the whole room again, of course. How can I not? Oh my god. Alright, so 9 of them have to roll, and they have to get a crit. None of them crit. So they all take the full brunt. Oh my god. Dude, this is crazy. But I mean, that's Axe. Like, yeah, I cast it twice now, but that's not impossible in Axe. Right? Like, I'm pretty sure you could have this spell twice. Like, it's not just one and done for each and every spell. I'm pretty sure. Number of spells of each level indicated on the spell progression type for their class. You do not have to memorize or prepare their spells in advance. They can choose which spells to cast at the time of casting from among any and all the spells in their repertoire. Yeah, so they're like sorcerers in D&D. Yeah. So, he's level, what, 3? Yeah, he's level 3. So a level 3 mage in Axe would have two level 1s and 1 level 2. That's exactly what he's cast so far. He's cast 1 level 2 and 2 level 1s. So, in Axe, he would be done now for the whole day. But, I mean, we basically are done for the whole day, aren't we? So, nothing of what I've done would be impossible in a more hardcore game. It's just Shadowdark. Yeah, mages get really fucking out of hand. And granted, the Burning Hands in Shadowdark is really shit in comparison, and you'd never be able to do anything like that. And there isn't really any good tier 1 AoE otherwise. No, I mean, there'd be Sleep or something, but that's not quite the same, and it's too easy to friendly fire. So no, there isn't a good tier 1 AoE, and there's not even that good of a tier 2 AoE. They don't give the wizard much AoE in Shadowdark until you get Fireball, in which case the problem with that is everyone's gonna fucking pick Fireball, because why wouldn't you? It's like your only AoE option. Yeah. I imagine that Novice Magic supplement probably adds some more AoE options. Dragon's Breath would be probably one. Oh, you get Grease, of course, classic. That's mostly it. Spew forth a burst of fire from your mouth like a dragon. Manifests as an arrow cone, deals 1d4 plus 1 points of damage to a single target. Oh, never mind, it's not AoE. Wow, yeah, Shadowdark's really stingy on AoE for some reason. Again, I just think that makes Fireball just... Or Sleep. It makes Fireball and Sleep just, like, essential. But yeah, in general, it seems to be kind of the design philosophy that mages don't get much AoE, fighters can't get multiple attacks or anything like that. Everything is just like one target, one target, one target, one target, done. Axe doesn't concern itself as much with that, because you're a bit more heroic. You're meant to just kind of decimate groups. But, you know, it's like enemies can certainly get AoE abilities. There's plenty of that, you know. A dragon's not breathing fire one at a time. Alright, so there's the chieftain left. He has 1 hit point left. So Norin's just going to try to knock his block off. Done. Alright, and that's it. So we technically killed 16 hobgoblins. So 15 hobgoblins plus the champion. So that's 15 times 15. 225 plus 20. 245 XP. Excellent. We took back our keep again. Does this change, this axe change for spells, does that make wizards too powerful? Probably. But as a person that almost exclusively plays wizards, I'm sort of okay with it. Because I think a fighter is pretty powerful, especially with the cleave rules and mighty deeds and stuff. Because my single target option's still not great. Slicing Blow, which I already lost, and then Mage Missile, which is 1d4. Fan of Flames can be used against a single target, but that's 1d8, assuming they fail their save, and I can only cast it until I lose it. The fighter can swing and swing and swing and swing all day long. Yeah, I mean, he's only level 1. He's got +6 on his attack roll, 1d8 plus 2. And he can cleave. And he has 20 AC. And he has more hit points. He has as many hit points as 1 as Kurathair does at 3. So, everybody's got their role. I do think priests might still be the weakest class. And basically just a heal monkey that's there to cast Cure Light Injury. Until they can't anymore, and then they get yelled at for not being able to cast Cure Light Injury. But I do think the Axe spell list is probably going to help them a lot in the longer run. Yeah. I think they have to stick with a D6 hit die. It just makes the most sense. And they don't get any real good bonuses to hit stuff. Because let's see, Axe would give them basically like a +1 at level 1 to 2, +2 from 3 to 4. Fighters get +1 at 1, +2 to 2 to 3, +3 at 4. So fighters are a bit ahead on the attack line. But that's the thing, like, a Crusader still gets better at attacking as you level up. A Priest in Shadowdark will never... get better at swinging a mace. Ever. Unless you get a 10 to 11 to get +2 to strength or wisdom and you take strength. Or you get 3 to 6 for +1 to melee or range attacks. So you get a few bonuses, assuming you roll that stuff. But most likely you're going to roll +1 to pre-spellcasting checks. So you're basically meant to just be a spellcaster, which is why I think the game needed, like, a more paladin. But I don't know. You know, originally I was like, oh wow, 4 classes. Like, that's really not many. But they kind of do represent sort of everything in those 4. It's such a core iconic set grouping, especially when you add in, you know, we've added now a lot of things to make them a bit more varied within the 4, like a lot more proficiencies for the thief and the priest and stuff, and just boatloads more spell options. So yeah, okay, anyways, so we've taken back the keep. We have to abandon it again, though, so hopefully nothing comes a third time to take our keep. But we're good now. So, we'll close the door, and... I mean, there's all these corpses here. I guess we could spend the day here. Okay, and we've been traveling. We're going to spend the day here, and we're going to drag all these hobgoblin corpses out into the woods. Maybe do a big bonfire or something. Not in the woods, but maybe in the courtyard. We'll just have a big bonfire. It's gonna reek, isn't it? It's gonna be horrible. That's probably... I don't know what you're meant to do with all these corpses, but that's what we'll do. We'll keep fan of flames. We'll just keep fanning those flames. All right, and then the mercenaries can hang out and blah blah blah. Didn't we forage on our way here? I guess we could roll that. Nope. Nope. Nope, definitely not. And no. Okay. Well, yeah, so I didn't subtract rations for the travel to the keep. We're just counting now. So that's going to be... I don't think I did this math right, did I? Oh no, this is weeks of rations. Right. This is not 9 rations, 9 weeks of rations. So technically that's 9 times 7. Yeah, we should have, I guess, the total count. $63 total. Okay, so every day we consume 12. So we're down to 51 rations. Right. And 51 divided by 7, 7.2, so it's 8 slots. Okay. That's fine. Good. Good. Okay. And then he's going to heal back up. Good. And you recover your slicing blow. Good. And we're going to head out now. I don't have a location on this map for where I set this, so I guess let's pick it now. I don't want it to be too far. We're going to put... we're going to put it here. Okay. And we will just make we'll just make this all forest as well and make it simple. Yeah, this will be forest as well. Okay, so we're gonna set out. We don't know exactly where this is. Well, okay, so the hobgoblin should have something that indicates this. We could have find another map or something, or we could find like some little tiny token or something from the temple that they took with them, and then maybe try to see if Kurathair knows anything about it. Or we can just follow footprints, but they're probably going to be pretty old and faded at this point, so it's unlikely. So I think it's more just going to be like we find a I don't know, like not a crucifix or something, but some sort of small token of this deity, because I think it's meant to be the ancient temple of Vexatorus, the Narbonian god of the underworld. So it's another death god. So I'll give either Zaphiel or Kurathair a chance to figure out where this is from and what they've heard of. Now you might say, well, Mang, didn't you say before to never do something like that? Where the entire adventure hinges on like one check to see if they know what it's about or if they can follow it or something like that. Yeah, you're right. So the better question is not, should I give them a roll? It's more, why would I require a roll? Or rather, what would be the consequence of failure if not that they don't find it? So if we assume that they are going to know something about this and be able to, a general direction, I think the check is more of how specific their knowledge is. No matter what they've heard of this, between the two of them, they know that there is supposed to be a temple to this god of the underworld somewhere to the north. It's more of, do they know more specifically where it is? Do they know any landmarks nearby? Could they try to navigate their way there through the forest? That kind of thing. That's I think the better way to do it. Because no matter what, we have sort of a plot hook. They're not going to fuck up completely where they have never heard of this and it's just plot over. All right. So we're going to give both of them an int check. We'll say a DC of 15. Okay, Kurathair has some specific knowledge now. They both do. Okay, well, that's really good then. Then we can probably narrow it down pretty much to the hex at that point between the two of them. If it was just one of them, I might have given them like a range of like 3 hexes or something like that in a general area. If neither of them had gotten it, it'd be like, yeah, it's somewhere to the northwest. Okay. Good. Excellent. That saves us time. So we're going to just travel. Boom, 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 boom. We'll make a path through the woods. So let's set out with our donkeys, with our strong, hardy men, and head into the first hex on the first day. D20 for our random encounter. That is going to be a big whopping nothing. We don't have to roll for that. This is definitely Borderlands. Again, I'm not quite sure the distinction between Borderlands and Outlands. I should probably read a bit more up on how I'm meant to differentiate the two. I think Borderlands is meant to be the border. Like between the keeps or whatever, like in between stuff like that. If I'm out in the wilderness, we're probably in the Outlands, really. And I know we've never determined weather, and we really should, but the problem is when I run a campaign, I have a whole calendar set up, and I go day by day, and I have I've already done the automated spreadsheet or whatever that generates the whole weather for 90 days or whatever for you. So I don't have to roll anything. I just have a calendar with 90 days worth of weather ready to go, and I use it as my calendar for writing notes and stuff. Here, yeah, I'd have to make rolls each day and blah, 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 and I don't care that much, although I do think it's kind of relevant. But yeah, I just don't want to do any rolls and stuff. Like, I don't want to handle this chart. So, such a process. Time to classify is either civilized, Borderlands, or Outlands. Being within 48 miles of a city or large town always makes a domain civilized, even if it's just established. Likewise, being within 72 miles of a city or large town always makes a domain at least Borderlands, but it's not the only way for a domain to be Borderlands. Apart from these two conditions, it's entirely up to you to decide which territory counts as civilized, Borderlands, or Outlands. Doesn't really help that much. Territories that are not part of any domain at all are unsettled, even if they're in proximity to a city or large town. Well, how far away are we from a city or large town? Well, if we count a large town as... Well, it tells us what a large town is, isn't it? Large town is a class 4, so yes. And I said we were a 3-day walk from that class 4. That's how we've been doing it. A 3-day walk for us is 36 miles. So our keep is generally around within 36 miles of a large town. Okay. We probably should have made that 4 days. Which would be... Our keep would be the very edge of civilized territory. Yes. So anything up to the keep generally is going to be civilized. Anything beyond the keep is going to be Borderlands. But it says that anything that's not part of a domain is unsettled. I guess technically you could say it's unsettled then. If there's no settlements in this whole area, I don't think that's unreasonable. We should probably be rolling on the unsettled territory once we go north of the keep. But, fuck. Fuck. When we ran the Sinister Stone of Saqqara, that had specific definitions for, like, that's their sort of version of Keep on the Borderlands. Does that say any of this is unsettled? No. Does it say any of it is Outland? No. But it definitely says it's all Borderland. Yeah, this is all Borderlands. They love the term Borderlands. Yeah. Okay, then I'm not really sure. I'm a little, I mean, we don't have much info to go off of, and obviously that's the whole point of this entire process, is it's a lot clearer when you construct the entire setting from the ground up using their guidelines and everything. You can sort of figure out kind of easily what's the different domains and stuff. Territory of the duchies and the counties and the count's personal domains, the duke's personal domains. Right, so this marsh, this forest, and then all this is all counted as wildlands, unsettled. So yeah, I'm pretty sure, based on what they're saying, this territory I'm in would all be unsettled. Which makes sense. I think it really does. But that means unsettled means you will never have a civilized encounter in that area. Which is kind of wild, because that means that bandits and brigands and stuff don't exist. They don't go in that area. But again, I think that makes sense. We've had to come up with weird justifications and stuff. But bandits and brigands go where there's people, not where there's monsters and shit like that, you know? Bandits are hoping to rob people. Brigands are hoping to rob people. Money, loot, easy pickings. A fucking, ogre or a hill giant or dire wolves or something. Those are not easy pickings. So, yes. I think that makes sense then. That's probably the easiest way to think of it, is anywhere where you wouldn't expect to have people wandering around, that's going to be an unsettled territory. All right. So we rolled a what for our check here for our first day? 4. So that is no encounter, thankfully. Excellent. It does mean that every hex you're in of unsettled territory, you do have a 15% chance of getting valuable terrain encounter, which is not bad. But yeah, I mean, certainly a decent chance of finding a monster, and they're not going to be probably that pleasant. That was the first hex. We can travel 12 miles per day, but we're entirely in forests, so really we can travel like 8 miles per day. So we can travel all the way through one section of the forest, and then partway into another section of this forest. We also have to roll to avoid getting lost, and that's what I think we probably should have rolled. So we're in either one of these 2 hexes right now. Let's see our getting lost check, which I think is a DC of 12. I don't think I have that cursed scroll up anymore, but I'm pretty sure they set it at 12. It just says in check upon exiting a hex. Yeah, but yeah, that's right. Okay, let me just check real quick. Supplements, curse scroll 4. I mean, yeah, we could do Shadowdark's weather system, which is pretty basic, pretty simple. It's just you roll a d6 each day. On a 1, the weather's bad. Normal terrain becomes difficult. And there's a 50-50 chance of a storm occurring, reducing visibility to near. Otherwise, on a 6, weather's excellent, and you roll the next day with advantage. So the weather could just keep staying excellent forever. It's very simple, but yeah, it works. They don't talk about navigation at all here, so we're just going to set the navigation check to be 12, I suppose. Okay, so we did get lost, so we ended up here. Again, it's like, I'm not quite sure with navigation checks and anything like that, when are you supposed to tell players, or if they know that they got lost or anything like that. Do they know immediately? I'm sure Axe is pretty clear about it. Yeah, it's a navigation roll here, which is modified if you have the navigation proficiency or something. +4, +8 if you know pathfinding and navigation. So we'd be in the forest, so we'd have to succeed on an 8 or higher roll, which we didn't even without. Yeah. If throw fails, party becomes lost. A lost party does not realize it has become lost that day unless forewarned by not getting to a destination it knew it was nearby or something like that. Otherwise, the party simply strays off in an unintended direction without realizing it. Party seeking to travel southeast might travel south or east or even north or west instead. The next day, when the judge makes another navigation proficiency throw on behalf of the party, they might discover they've gotten lost. If the throw succeeds, the party realizes it is lost and can resume traveling in its desired direction. The party does not, however, learn the actual direction it erroneously traveled unless it doubles back the way it came and sets off again. If the throw fails, the party remains ignorant of its misdirection and blithely continues on. Party realizes it is lost and can resume traveling in its desired direction. Right, so they're saying, say I'm here. I want to travel northwest. We get lost. If we end up here, we can say, okay, well now we know what direction northwest is now. We're not lost anymore. We can go northwest. So now we don't know where we are, but we can keep traveling northwest. If we end up here, we can keep traveling northwest. If we end up here, we can keep traveling northwest. Here, northwest. Here, northwest. Here, northwest. You know. Because the players are not meant to have like a master map or anything like that. You know. They have their own map that they're drawing on with their own stuff, and the DM just tells them what they see and, you know, things like that. It's a pretty, it's a pretty hardcore way of doing it, I think. But I get, like, there is no omniscience of just like, yes, we know we are in this hex 5-1, or, you know, what, you know, we're in this hex here, we know it. We are looking down upon us from the heavens, and we see we're in this hex. There are no hexes, you know, and like as far as the characters are concerned, they don't know where they are. They just, it's just like yourself wandering in the forest. You wouldn't know exactly where in the forest you are or anything, which can make it very difficult to find a location without a guide, which is all pretty realistic. You'd want a guide in this situation. So, yeah, which is why in this specific situation, a DM would know, like, okay, they're here. I know they want to get here, blah, blah, blah. All the players really know maybe is like some landmarks and like what general direction they need to go in. And maybe a general indication of how far it is. So in this case, they probably know that the temple we're looking for is to the northwest of the keep, like directly northwest. And it's about, what, like 6, 12, 18, it's like 21 miles away, 20 or so miles away. And probably, you know, the DM would throw out like a notable landmark nearby that they might be able to use to you know, recognize that maybe they're in the right hex, because I rolled well. So maybe there's a, I don't know. There's like a valley or something like that. And they know that it's in the valley. So once they arrive in that hex, the DM would maybe mention the valley or something like, oh shit, we found it. Now we're going to search for it. And then they search for it. But if we had failed both of those rolls, all we might know is it's somewhere in the northwest. And you don't know if it's here. You don't know if it's here, 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 you know. Something like that. And again, like you would have your own map. And maybe the players would have their own like hex grid map that's just this, but entirely blank. You could do it that way. But yeah, I think it's fair. Problem with that is solo, it's really difficult to sort of handle. But all right. So we ended up in this hex. And we traveled, you know, we were trying to travel northwest. So instead of going out from like here to here, we went from here to here. It's not that far off. We technically arrive in the same destination anyways. It's pretty much. It depends, I suppose, also on the granularity. Usually I just count hexes, and like the actual position within the hex doesn't matter too much. But if you have a more detailed map than this, where you actually have terrain and like different landmarks, like cliffs or hills, or, you know, the terrain is varied across each one of these instead of just forest, you know, it probably does matter to be a little bit more specific about where they're traveling and where they are at any moment. But anyways, it's not going to be a big deal for us. But when we enter into the second hex, we could either be going into this one or this one. We could still get lost. So this is going to be another DC 12-inch check. Okay, that one, at least we're heading in the right direction of northwest now. So probably there. You know, we go partway through here, and then we realize, like, oh, actually, this is northwest. And so then we go into here, and now we're in this hex, and we're going to roll for that. 9. That's not going to be no encounter. That is a monster encounter in unsettled territory. Our monster rarity for the day is quite rare. Yeah, rare. And we're in a forest deciduous. Rare. D100. 91. Troll. Trolls, I imagine. That's not going to be good. Luckily, we have fire. Trolls. Oh boy. 40% chance we found the troll lair. No, we didn't. So we found a roaming pack, a gang of 1d8 of them. 5 of them. Okay, we need encounter distance. We're in the forest. Again, I wish there was just a nice, easy chart in one location that I could reference, but it's this. So this is the 3d6 times, no, 5d8 times 3. 36 feet. That's pretty close, actually. That was a low roll. 36 feet away from the trolls. In that case, I don't think there's really foreknowledge on either side. I think we both just spotted each other. They don't have any bonus to avoid surprise. We don't have any bonus to avoid surprise. But we both can be surprised. And again, normally each person would roll a d6 to see if they are surprised individually, and I should roll for each of the trolls. I'm not going to do that. We're doing group-based, but group-based can be far more devastating to either side. So it is what it is. Our side is not surprised. Their side is surprised. So they were busy doing something. We could roll on the encounter activity table as well. I mean, I do really like looking at those. They're fun. So let's look at the encounter activity table for trolls. It's going to be a D100. 58. Lurking within an incredibly cramped cupboard / cracks. That does not make sense. 5. Blundering into an armed dwarf patrol, furiously lighting torches. Probably pretty unlikely, but would be pretty fun a lot of the time. 98. Wearing cloaks made of hundreds of rat hides stitched together with gut. Well, it's a unique trait, I'll give you, but it's not exactly an activity. 46. Cat hunching even more so than usual to squeeze through a door. These are all like urban trolls. Where's the forest trolls? Opening an ironbound strongbox with brute force. Yeah, we could do that way, I suppose. Okay, we'll do the iron box, the strong box. There's nothing. Maybe there's nothing in the strong box. We don't know that. The trolls don't know that. But yeah, we sort of spot them. We come around the through a thicket, and there's a group of 5 trolls, all trying to like crowd around this big strong box and wrench it open. And thus, they're a little bit more preoccupied than we are, so they get surprised. And we're rolling. Well, no, we just get our free round. Okay. I mean, Sunflare is the only correct option here, right? 100%. Like, we can end this right now. We will use luck tokens on this. So otherwise, this is pretty easy to be a TPK. They have, how much health? 9, 18, 27, 30 hit points. Yeah, they have 30 hit points, but a Sunflare could probably prompt a morale roll very quickly. We could roll a reaction, I suppose, but we got the jump on them. We're not waiting to see how they're feeling about us. Fuck them. Roll that Sunflare. Oh my god in heaven. This is why we switched to axe spells. Okay, so I get to double a numerical value. So this will be 6d6 damage. Fire damage raining down from the heavens. And it's... I mean, they're all crowded around this strongbox. That's what we said. So, yeah. Decimation. Good God. All right, 66, and they have to crit on their save. So 5 of them, 5d20. Are there any crits? Nope. So they all take 66. 26 damage. Jesus. I rolled 3 6s in there. Yeah, the average of 66 would have been 21, so we're a good number above average. Not enough to kill any of them, but they're all at 4 hit points. Noreen is going to charge in with his longsword. Technically, he doesn't have to charge. You're right. We already have advantage, so he just ran in. All right, he slices one in half. Technically, they have to be dropped by fire damage or acid damage. They have to go to 0 because of that to stop their regeneration. But it doesn't really matter. They're going to scatter. When confronted by creatures equipped with fire or acid, Troll's morale drops to 0. They're going to flee, 100%. It's mostly just, can we kill any before that happens? So he technically dropped one to 0, so he gets to cleave a second one. He crits, so he drops another one to 0. He can't cleave anymore, unfortunately. It'd be nice for him to level up. Zaphiel will also run in and try and club a third one. He misses. And Scylla is going to try to shoot one. Okay. What's their AC? Damn cat, always walking in front of my screen. 15. No, she misses. Okay, now our initiative. I don't know what their dex would be. Probably 1 or 2. Two. All right. And we have 0. So our initiative is 1. Theirs is 4. Their morale, yeah, they flee. So they're the 3 of them. They were still standing. Bolt out of there like a bat out of hell. And the yeah, the other 2 regenerate 3 hit points at the start of their initiative, and then they're gonna scramble out of the way. I could drop another Sunflare, but I'd hate to lose the spell. Actually, it doesn't matter, right? Because we're gonna camp now, and it's gonna be nighttime, and he can't use it anyways. It's just like, if we camp, he gets interrupted, and he doesn't get it back. I'll be pretty upset. And we don't really get anything for killing these trolls. Well, we might. They have a 50% chance of holding treasure. Although... Oh, yes. They have O treasure type per gang. Okay, so he can aim for the group of 3 that ran first, or the group of 2 that had to get up and run. He's going to aim for the 3. Alright, another success, 24. So again, they have to crit. Oh my god, what a monster he is. So 3, they have to crit. One of them did crit, so he's only going to take half of this 3d6. But unless I roll less than 8, they're all dead. Oh my god. Whoa, that shit. Alright, so he roasts 2 of them, and they die completely. The last one gets singed for 3 more. He's got 1 hit point. Still, I guess, could fire an arrow, but yeah, we have no more fire or acid, so that was it. Alright. We'll let him get away. We lose visibility then quickly, so they're gone. So we killed 2. Is that enough to get the treasure? Well, we could divide whatever I roll by 40%. We take 40% of whatever the O treasure is. That would probably be the most fair way to do it. Now, technically, do we get XP for all 5? Outsmarted, captured, or killed. No, I don't think it says anything about... I mean, technically, we defeated them, but they live to fight another day, and they could come back to kill us. And you're not going to get XP every time you send them packing, so no. I mean, outsmarted, that's a whole different kind of category of just, like, encouraging players not to just kill everything they encounter. But yeah, fighting something and it running doesn't give you XP. I'm just gonna say that. So that means we got XP for 2 of the 5, which is still plenty. And yeah, I know that the heavy infantry didn't fight. They were with us. That probably should have impacted our roll a little bit of if they had foreknowledge or not, because we are kind of loud. But it's hard to... I don't know. I didn't think about... I keep forgetting. I always forget about retainers. There's a lot to juggle. I got 4 characters. I got 8 heavy infantry. I got 4 donkeys. It's a lot to juggle. But yes, it makes it you probably shouldn't have been able to surprise them that easily. But it's too late now. Maybe the other group was lagging behind. Alright, so that's 1,200, 1,360 XP. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, and then for treasure, let's roll up an O treasure type. Oh, we'll go to our special... this one. We have this now. We're going to roll on the classic treasure type. Oh, that averages 12,000. These trolls are rich. We'll say that part of this comes from the strong box. How about that? That makes it a little fairer. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, trolls are fucking rich. All right. 30% for copper. No. 50% for silver. Yes. How much silver? 3d6. 7. Okay, so I'm going to just write down... we're going to write down the total amount, and then we'll get the 40% value later. 60% for electrum. No. 60% for gold. Yes, barely. Thank you. Thank you. It's 2d6. 5,000 gold. Okay. 30% for gems. No. 60% for jewelry. Yes. And this is going to be 1d4. Nice. 4 jewelry. Okay. 75% chance for a sword, weapon, or armor. No. Fuck. 75% for 2 potions. Yes. 50% for any 2 magic items. No. So we got 2 potions. Well, that's the total. Okay. So now we need to 40% all of this. So 7,000 minus 40. No, minus 60%. It's 2,800 silver. 5,000 minus 60%. Fuck. 5,000 minus 60%. 2,000 gold. 4 jewelry. Let's just say 2 jewelry and 1 potion. The 2 jewelry is going to be D100 roll for value. 46. So that's 2d6 times 100. 500 each. So they're, let's say, ivory. And we'll say they're ivory bracelets. Classic. 500 gold piece each. And then last but not least, the potion. It's potions of any kind. Oh no, so yeah, it's the D100 here. 77. It's an uncommon potion 2. Okay, well that's pretty good. Uncommon potion 2, another D100, 46. It is a potion of inaudibility. I spelled that wrong. Yeah, I know, I spelled it wrong, thank you. What? Potion of inaudibility. And then it just links to this. Where's the potion of inaudibility? Okay, then I assume it just makes you inaudible. Why is it not in the fucking book? It's not no, what is a potion of inaudibility? How dare you do this to me? Target becomes completely inaudible. I mean, that's what I would have assumed it does. I just don't know how long it lasts. Okay, Oh, not invulnerability. That would be cool. No, there's nothing for invulnerability. Or inaudibility. So I have to just spitball a duration. That's weird, isn't it? It's not in the book at all. How can you just say something? How can you do that? You have so much stuff here. Oh, it's a spell? Well, yeah, okay. Well, alright, well, let's look at the spell then. Yep. It's a spell. Inaudibility. Will last for 1 day. You count as sneaking until the effect ends. You move and fight noiselessly. It ends if the recipient speaks, suffers damage, fails a saving throw, or casts a spell. Merely attacking or interacting with objects does not end the effect. Wow. Attacking or interacting with objects does not end the effect. Spell lasts at most 1 day. Okay. Awesome. Well, that's going to Scylla. Which basically means that, yeah, so for a day she can't be heard. How do we represent that exactly? Well, basically, I guess it's like if the target wouldn't have line of sight on her, it doesn't get a check. She auto succeeds on stealth. Is basically how it works. But she can't talk for a day, or she can't fail any saving throw or anything like that. I'll just copy this description. Okay, and that's going to be 0.25. Okay, how much XP do we get off for all this shit? Well, the potions were 25. So that's 2,280. 3,200. No, 305, I think is correct. Awesome. We will now load up all this silver and gold onto Donkey 2. So 2,000 gold, 2,800 silver, 2 ivory bracelets, 500 gold piece each, and that's it. Awesome. Done and done. Boy, that was a nice haul of XP, all told. I think we'd probably level up Noreen if we went back to town right now. Which is damn tempting, but then we'll never get to this dungeon. Yeah, because I mean, that's 4,600, 4,800, 4,900 divided by 4. So that's over 1,000. He'd be pretty darn close. I'd have to figure the exact number here. Damn close, though. 5,000 on the dot, actually. Holy shit. So he'd get 1,250, which would be enough to level him. Yeah, and it would be enough to level Zaphiel. That's almost worth going back, I gotta say. Thank God I took Sunflare, huh? Because that would have been a tricky thing. I wouldn't have been able to slumber him. And I would have had to Fan of Flames them, which might have caused them to scatter. It could. But if I had failed Fan of Flames, we would have been 100% fucked. Like, just slaughter. We have no other we have no other fire. I have military oil, I guess. Maybe that would send him scattering, but I don't know. It would have been brutal. So thank God for Kurathair, which is the first time we've said that. Alright, well, let's just camp for the night. And I think because we're in unsettled territory, we have to roll for an encounter every single night. Yeah, every night. And we stand good odds of getting another monster encounter at night. But we have a nice big group now, which is going to help at night when we're stationary. Not so helpful when we're walking through. We're kind of obvious, but... Alright. Do we forage at all? That's the real big question of the day. Nope. 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 So that's another 12 rations gone, bringing our total down to 39. Which I think is 6 slots. But he's actually at 10, say 11 slots. Good. Okay, and our random encounter check is an 8, which is, of course, a monster encounter. Rarity, not too rare. 5 is going to be a common monster in the forest. 7, brown bears. Okay, I would not really ever have brown bears attack a group of 12 individuals. I think that would be... something has gone very wrong in that case. Especially, there's only going to be 1d2 of them. There's one brown bear. It would have to be maddened. It would have to be some chemically enraged or something magically commanded to do this. So I can roll a reaction roll. I guess on a 2 it might charge just because something's very wrong with it. Okay, yeah, it just sort of sniffs around. We kind of spot it in the distance, but I don't think the scout would even awaken anybody. Yeah. That's probably about it. Yeah. Okay. That's it. All right, then we will pick it up next time from this point. And I think so we're like here. We're like right under this F. So I think we're gonna go back to the keep tomorrow then, or today, the next time, and we'll head back to the settlement just to cash in all our loot. Although we could count the keep as a safe location. I don't know why it wouldn't count. So we'll count the keep as our safe location. So we can just go there, dump off our loot or something like that, get a rest in our keep, level up, and then head out again. And maybe someday we'll get to this dungeon. But this was still a worthwhile video to do. We made some good progress. And we got to see fucking Sunflare in action. My god. And that's a tier 2 spell. Can you imagine when we're going to get to like tier 4 spells? The unholiness that we will rain down upon our foes? Glorious. Yeah. I mean, Bloody Flux would have been pretty good too. I mean, I specifically wanted AoE. I like AoE, but Bloody Flux against a single target. Death saving throw. If they fail, they begin vomiting blood, cannot take any actions or speak, and suffers 1d12 death damage at the start of its turn until it makes the save. Pretty good. And there's all sorts of good spells. Boiling blood. Anyways. Alright, my name is Mang. This has been Solo Roll Manging. I'll see you fine folks in the next part.